But the general concern, that village that we touched upon last week, I think that's very valid. I'll say to this day, I've already told, Angela outside of the radio show, I was like, if you ever catch my son slipping, you go ahead and check him and let me know.
Right.
That's the community that I'm from.
Right.
That's the village I'm from.
And that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to let people know when their children are out of line, I'm not saying snatch them up or anything, but I'm going to tell your mama. I'm going to tell your mom, and I let kids know I done did that before. I done snitched on plenty of kids because, and it's not about every little thing or whatever, but if I feel that you're doing something wrong and I know your mom don't like that, then yeah, of course I'm going to let her know what's going on, so that way you won't feel that you can just do whatever in front of me. And that's what right. And a lot of kids need to learn respect. That's all you got to. Respect goes a long way. That's what we need to teach our kids. Respect. A simple hi to adults and everything. That's going away right now because I see it a lot and it burns me up.
And see, that's the thing. Like a lot of adults that I've met, when, from the South, ma'am and sir was just a regular thing that we would say. And I find a lot of parents now are getting so lax with that. And no disrespect, my aunt used to let, her daughters call her by the first name. That's something I cannot allow my son to call me by my first name. It's just, It's just not going to fly. And my dad keeps telling me, elders keep telling me, you're the parent, not a friend. I think something that you touched on is really important because there's a lot of parents that's going on nowadays as friends. Like I talked to somebody and they were like, oh yeah, I let the kids come over here and they can drink and they can smoke. Where they're in my house, so they're okay. No, that's not the way to go. It really isn't. It's
not, because then when you want to tell them something right, they're not really truly respecting you. You let them do one thing, and then when you want to get in the mommy role, they don't understand that. You was my friend 2 minutes ago. Now you don't like something I did because I was possibly drunk that you let me drink. Yeah. And then now you want to get in. So it never works out like that. I mean, you can have a close relationship with your kids and talk to them and let them know that you can come. They can come to you for anything, but you also have to have that authority. You have to let them know that you're not my friend,
I'm the boss.
I'm the boss. I pay the cost to be the boss. As long as you under here, then it's what it is. And it's not hard. It's not hard if you do it the right way. But you can't play the fence.
Yeah, you can't be at home in 1 minute and be the parent the next when it's convenient.
Right.
And when you say no, you got it's written also, let your no be no and your yes mean yes. So when you say no, you got to stand firm with it, and it'll be no.
Right. And
I know that my parents didn't have to tell me more than twice no on a couple occasions, and on a couple occasions they just had to say it once, and I was like, okay, I got the point. I'm not gonna push you.
Yeah, and that's how you're supposed to be. I mean, we all stumble and fall. And especially some of us, we have kids and they're our first kids, and so we try to, because I know with my 15-year-old, it's been a shaky road. Yeah. And I can't lie and say sometimes I wasn't just trying to be her friend, and I had to realize that I couldn't be her friend. I had to learn the hard way that way, and we still are, shaky on it, but we're working it out. It's
I think with the first kids, it's always initially, okay, what can I do? What am I going to do to better the situation? But then it is kind of like a trial and error. So if they do have siblings, by the time you get to the last one, you be so straight, it'd be so ironed out. The last kid be like, man, I can't do nothing.
Exactly.
That's because your older sister, your older brother tried it and it didn't work for them. Right. And it didn't work for us in general.
Yeah, so, and I know how to nip it in the bud in the first place, so where it won't even get that far.
Eliminate it. Exactly. Don't even let it be a thought. Exactly. So I think that's important. And a lot of people, we see a lot of stuff that's going on with the kids nowadays. Like I grew up in a day and age where there was a youth center. Like there was playgrounds, there was youth centers, there were, boys and girls. But I'm not saying, I don't see a lot of it now, not as much as maybe because I'm looking at it as an adult perspective, but as a kid, okay, well, if we're not playing outside, we're going to go to the pool. If we're not going to the pool, the youth center's open, and at 8 o'clock there's going to be a dance, and it's going to be from 11, and our parents are going to come pick us up, and you know how the parents do. They'd be kicking it, barbecuing, drinking, smoking, whatever, music playing in the background, but we were all together. It was never you just sending your kid out to the world and just say, hey, you deal with what's going on out there. So I think it's important that we remember that, you know, the kids need a place too. They need a place to
right.
vent.
And it really isn't any places like that anymore, you know. I mean, you have a couple after school programs, and I mean, they're not even really doing that much as they can. I guess it's I wouldn't say it's the actual individuals. It might have to do with the funding, and that's a lot why it's not a lot of these places out here anymore.
Yeah.
And you know, I think we need to come together as a community and try to get it together. Like, I grew up in the Oak Park area, and I heard a couple months ago that they're trying to close down the community center. Now, something that's been there since I've been a kid.
Yeah.
And now you're saying that you're going to close it down. So then where are those kids going to go? Just like around here in the Rosemont area, there's a lot of kids, they just hang out doing nothing, twiddling their thumbs and whatever, and anything. They can get in trouble with anything that they use fun to do bad stuff. They use bad stuff as being fun. Mm-hmm. We're gonna break some windows. That's not fun. Instead of, they need to channel that anger or whatever into something else, like you said, the after school program, the YMCA, the Boys and Girls Club, where they had different outings and everything else, you know, pool and watch TV and movie nights, all that. That's gone.
It's really sad because, like you said, I think one of the major issues could be funding, because the schools seem, well, I'm not gonna say all schools are hurting, but some schools seem to be really hurting, you know, and it shouldn't be a forced issue to have parent involvement. I mean, if I was sitting on $1 million check, I would purposely spend every day that I could up at my son's school just so I could know what's going on. Right. And it's not just about the students; it's about the school in general.
Yes.
You know, because this is the place that I'm sending him 8 hours out of the day. You know, and the influence is there. We know that. And it's not all kids either. It's adults as well, because adults, we're imperfect just like kids. So, you know, depending on what kind of attitude or personality that teacher may have that day, you know, your kid is either going to be receptive to it, or they're going to just totally ignore it. Right. And just say, you know what, I just got to come here for 45 minutes and then I'm out. Right. So I think it's important that we really, you know, band together. You know, it's not for the teacher to be the daycare provider or the social worker. We have to come in too, because if the teachers don't see us, and that's why when back to school night comes up and open house, I try to make a point to let them know. Now I walk in, you know, dressed down, but I try to make a point. Hey, this is Xavier's mom. I'm Xavier's mom. You know, I'm here, you know, because I'm concerned. And I've had teachers tell me, all the way from when he was in elementary school, that they were like, you know, we're so happy to see you, but we don't really see, parents don't really come out, or when field trips come up, you know, if I can make a field trip, I'll go. Like the kids went to the Crocker Art Museum. Things like that I think should be done like twice a year at least. I mean, I learned a lot when I went to the Crocker Art Museum. You know, it's a lot more to painting. These kids, you know, came in, they were lightweight into it. Some of them was into it more than others. But I think if there was just that general, hey, you know, this is something you could look into. Maybe this is something you want to do. Maybe you want to paint, or maybe you want to construct things. Something that gives them that outlet to know that they don't have to be posted outside. Because that's one thing I can say that's disheartening about our block. You know, and once again, like I said, when I say no disrespect, I'm really serious about it. But it's disheartening to walk down the street at any time and see like 5 to 10 kids just standing outside, and then on the other side of the street you see the highway patrol car, you know, just driving slow up and down the block. That's hard for me, because I'm like, you know, these kids may or may not be doing anything, but you know, what is it for them to do other than just sit outside? Right.
And that goes back to the no funding thing, because that has to be, because we had it and we don't have it now, and that makes you go, what's up with the California lottery? What's up with these
oh yeah, because they stress that a lot about
these box tops. What is these box tops really doing? I know I done cut thousands of box tops off and sent them to the school. And where is this money going to? I know it's not much, but it should be going towards something. We need something for these kids to be out here doing, channeling their energy and other things instead of going the other way, because they're not learning anything. They're not learning anything that from school. There's no incentives, really, basically.
A lot of schools nowadays don't seem like they really push or motivate kids. I mean, I know some of the schools my son's been in the past, it just seemed like, okay, well, you showed up.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
You showed up so we could get that X amount of funds for you just showing up.
Right.
You know, and that's, to me, is discouraging, because I make a point now, like when my son was younger, it was generally just a one-word answer, like, how was school? Good. And that was it. What was the best day of school? Lunch. Okay. But now he's getting older. Like I asked him, you know, he's taking a Japanese class. And I like waiting on Japanese because I was stationed out in Okinawa with my dad when we were young, before we touched bases in Sacramento. So I said, well, this will be cool, because if you're going to recite it, then maybe we could, you know, recite together. So he comes through the door and I say, you know, konnichiwa, meaning good afternoon in Japanese. And then he'll just spit like a whole sentence, and I'll be like, wait, Rosetta Stone, Rosetta Stone, Rosetta Stone, Rosetta Stone, bro. But I like that because it's engaging. It's that
right.
engaging conversation. You got to have that with kids, and you can't always be over them telling them, "Oh, you need to do this. I expect you to do this." You got to come and talk to them as a real person. That's where that gray line of where homie and parent is. But you got to just know not to cross it. But you have to have that communication with them, because if not, they're gonna talk to somebody else, and they're not gonna get the message.
Yeah, they might not get the right information from the other person. It might be something totally different. So,
and we remember how it was when we were kids.
Right.
You know, all the misinformation I got when I was a child, like,
exactly.
What?
You know,
it doesn't happen that way.
Yeah, so, and it's hard. It's hard to get back to, if you're not strong-willed, you know, you can hear other people go off what people say, especially if they like somebody, an older friend and everything else, and they don't have no relationship with you. That older friend could tell them anything. They could tell them, if you drink bleach, you will think you're Jesus, and they will,
follow it.
And they'll follow it. So you gotta be, you have to have that strong hold on your kids, as you know, and it's easy. They gotta know who's boss, but also know to talk to them. You can't just always just nitpick at your kids. You gotta feel your kids. Like I said before, they're all different personalities, and I think that's where these new teachers going wrong. They don't understand that when you sign up to be a teacher, you're going to deal with 30 or 40 households, 30 or 40 personalities. You know, so you have to know that it's everybody don't raise their kids the same way. And then when you're in the class full of, you might have some good kids, you have some bad kids, you have some, you know, it's all different problems going on. So that's, to be a teacher, you have to be very, very strong and not just there for no paycheck. And
yeah, you can't be there for a paycheck or loan forgiveness.
Right.
I used to work in the loan agency, and that was the one thing that's, if you go to a low income, impoverished school and work there for at least 3 years, we'll forgive your loan. So some people heard that and they took off to the most, I can't even say the word. The school they can find.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of, well, you know, that extra $20,000 is gonna be knocked off at the end. So, but you gotta do it for love. Whatever you do in life, like I'm sitting here talking to Angela, her poetry is her love. Her young ones is her love. You know, living is her love. You know, same here with me. You know, you gotta do it out of love, because if you don't like it, you're not going to succeed. You're just going to be mad about it. You're going to be pissed off, and everybody around you is going to feel it. So, you know, I think it's really important that, you know, people really take note. You know, check your own heart condition. Before we can check anybody else's, which we really truly can't, check your heart condition. Check your motivation. And if it's not for love, then what are you doing it for? Because there's other people watching you. It doesn't even have to be people in your inner family. It could just be outside influences just watching you. And we talked about this before we came on air. Everybody's watching just a little bit. It's just who's responding and who's reacting. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go to a commercial break here for a quick second. Then we're going to have Angela come back, and she's going to recite another poem for us. Stay tuned. Thank you for joining us in the Butterfly Suite today. I hope you're enjoying the show.